Maybe there is a problem. You see, I'm not a geek. Very good. So, first of all, I would like to apologize for my broken English because I have been out of an English speaking environment in the last 12 months. And it's not easy to go back to fluent English in a few days. But I think it will be great also because we are in an international meeting, so it will be good for some of you who speak English more or less, so you will understand everything I can say. And I hope native speakers will not need translator into English, okay? So let's say that we are going to speak about technology, and maybe you are wondering why someone who has been offline almost the last 12 months is here today at the stage talking about technology. And I'm going to tell you that maybe I'm here just because of that, because our international network of Jesuit works is so wide and so diverse that I'm just coming 3 days ago from the border of Dominican Republic and Haiti, where I'm working with 2 schools of Fe Alegría at both sides of the border, that they do not have internet connection. Okay? And actually they are doing pretty well. They are doing an amazing mission of education without being connected to the internet. And I was, the last 6 months ago, I was in Cuba doing my internship, and I just want also to remind that our companions in Cuba will not be able to follow in this talk, even if we upload videos in the internet, because they are still connecting through a dial-up modem. I thought that I was not going to see any more, something like that, and it was kind of cool just listening to the sound of beep, beep. They are still connected through modem, and thanks that they are foreigners, they can do that. If not, they will not even able of connecting to the internet. So with that bandwidth, they cannot even charge the homepage of YouTube. So I'm aware of the difficulties to access technology that we have in our network, and this is why when we were discussing how to focus this talk, my proposal was let's talk about technology in the Jesuit network, how it's helping us to develop the international network. But I don't think that it will fit here, taking into account the reality of our network, a talk on the state of the art of education and technology. So don't expect this, because I'm going to try to help you to answer the question of how can we use technology to better develop our international mission. Okay? So I'm pretty aware I'm talking to the catalyzers of whatever will be the future of the secondary education apostolic sector. So I really appreciate the invitation to be here at the stage today. I think it's very important, and we are in a strategically very important moment for the sector. I hope you will find interesting these ideas. My intention is to spark and to excite a little bit your mind so we can keep going with the conversation that has been already going on in the last 3 days. Let's start watching this. I'm sure the organizers told me that everybody here have been registering to the colloquium through email or filling up a formulary online. So probably you are internet users that know perfectly how to fill a form in the internet. I'm sure that if I ask you what is the most annoying part of this form, you will agree. That is this, that it's called, this is called CAPTCHA. Okay? It's a system, a technology to differentiate if you are a human being or a computer or an automatic software. So it's meant to avoid spam, and because only humans can read that. So if you cannot read that, I will be worried. This was invented in Carnegie Mellon University. They were very happy because it was an incredible success. Okay? Actually, today, more than 200 million CAPTCHAs are filled every day in the internet. It's used by the most important web, like 350,000 different websites are using CAPTCHA. Among them, Facebook, Google, Amazon, the big ones. Okay? So they were very happy about this, but they realized that it takes 10 seconds every time you fill up a CAPTCHA like this. So they start to be less happy about their invent when they realize that humanity as a whole is wasting 500,000 hours of human brain every day in a task that is not possible to do by computers. So they face this question that probably you have been facing many times in your own boards of directors or whatever will be your teamwork, that is, how can we take advantage of our potential? This is something, I think that's the question that brought us here all together as a network. And the guys from Carnegie Mellon University came up with a very good idea. They invented a new system that is called reCAPTCHA, and actually what they do is they have two words now. One word is the classic CAPTCHA, so they know if you are really a human. And the other one is actually a word that a computer didn't understood when digitalizing a book. So what is happening now is that when you are filling up reCAPTCHA, every time you are doing that, you are actually digitalizing, helping to digitalize books that were impossible to digitalize otherwise. So every day, we are translating or digitalizing 10 million words. That means 2.5 million books at the end of the year. This is just an example, a brilliant example, I think, of what we call massive scale online collaboration. And I'm bringing it here today just to give you the sense of why in this age of massive use of technology, small changes can have an incredible impact thanks to the potential for collaboration that relies in the background of these technologies. Let me give you another example. Let me introduce you to Kazungu. Kazungu is a woman from Rwanda, a friend of mine. She had to flee, left the country in 1994 in the middle of the genocide with a small daughter. I met her in Kakuma camp, a refugee camp in northwest Kenya, where I was working in 2006 with years. And she had already another kid in the camp. So when I arrived there, she was already 12 years in that camp. She had secondary education already. She was a single mother with 2 kids. And her dream was to be able of using the time in the camp to acquire more education. So she was able of going back to their country and contribute to the future of Rwanda whenever it will be possible. I don't think I have to defend in this forum the importance of education in this type of settings. So thanks to the problem is that GRS is not offering tertiary education because of the obvious costs of that type of offer. So we usually only work with informal education, primary, secondary education. So thanks to a program like the Jesuit Commons, that is a collaborative program that is bringing the expertise of Jesuit universities to the refugee camps with GRS. In classrooms like this one, this is where I was teaching like 4 months, I was there with them. So thanks to a program like the Jesuit Commons, Kazungu was able to study a degree on communication, and actually I'm in touch with her through Facebook. Okay? And this is a piece of our discussion where I was asking her for permission to use her as a sample today in this talk. And just listen to this, or read this, that she said, the technology not only helped me to study, but it helped to get a job where I do not need to present the documents or pass all the interview processes. It is always based on my ability to do the job, nothing else. And I'm also still paid through the electronic bank. So Kazungu is another example of how we can have an incredible impact just through collaborative efforts that today are possible because of technologies of information and communication. So these are just 2 examples that I'm bringing as a main framework to try to express why today we are going to talk about how technology is opening up new spaces to the development of our mission. I'm not going to talk about tools within the classroom. I'm not going to talk about education and technology. I would like to say today very strongly that technology is expanding actually the possibilities of our mission. And that it's not a question of technology, but mainly of creativity and our ability to lead that change. What really can expand or be the limit to expand the borders or the frontiers of our mission. This is like a summary of what I want to say. Let me say it again, it's not a question of technology, but of innovation and the ability to lead the change. But let's go step by step.
Right now, there are more people on Facebook than there were on the planet 200 years ago. Humanity's greatest desire is to belong and connect. And now we see each other. We hear each other.
Grandpa, I love you. I love you.
I want to take a picture.
We share what we love, and it reminds us what we all have in common.
Dug out alive and well after 7.5 days.
If you believe in yourself, you will know how to ride a bike. Watch and more.
Not technically, your device is on. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
And this connection is changing the way the world works. Governments are trying to keep up.
No, we got this different again.
And older generations are concerned.
Many people are very concerned about tomorrow because they could get worse next year.
The game has new rules.
Probably you have seen this video, many of you, is part of the video of Connect 2012, the campaign that Father Roberto already mentioned in the previous keynote. I think we all agree that the game has new rules. The video says that humanity's greatest desire is to belong and to connect. And this connection is changing the way the world works. I would like to say that many experts on globalization, we are not going to invest a lot of time on this, but they highlight the role of these new technologies. And they have brought this explosion of interconnectedness in the world. Actually, if I have to say a couple of words of what is the effect of these technologies, I cannot avoid to say, first of all, connectivity. So today the power is not anymore in accumulation, but in sharing, connecting. The strongest today is the one with more number of connections and more diverse. This type of changing game is bringing us a new set that is changing, is challenging even the structures, vertical structures, closed structures. This is even challenging our Jesuit promises that are not anymore a scope valid for a mission that is intrinsically universal. And the second word I would like to highlight is collaboration. Many authors say that we are even passing through an anthropological change that is affecting all individuals, even Jesuits and collaborators. Today the emphasis is in the social side, relationship, communication, dialogue, participation. This is a totally new landscape for our mission. What is important for us today is that the killing feature of these new technologies is the ability to create communities. We have 30% of the world already connected to the internet, and that is changing the landscape where many organizations are working, especially also the church and also the Society of Jesus. Father General has said that this interconnectedness is the context, the new context to understand the world and the place to discern our mission. And I will go even further. I will say that we are perfectly fitted to answer to this challenge. All of you know already Ignatian spirituality, and I don't want to stop. It will take another keynote just to talk about how we are fitted to answer this challenge. But I just want to tell you that our spirituality, our tradition, our structures, the way we work are perfectly fitted to take advantage of the new possibilities of these technologies. Let's say, remember the vision of Ignatius, always talking about the mission from the perspective of the Trinity, looking to the world like we are doing now here. That's the beginning of the sense of mission we have been sent to the world. Think about the ideal of mobility, wherever it's needed for the greatest glory of God. The availability. We are linked to the Pope, to the Bishop of the Universal Church. So we are really free to go wherever the mission asks. There is a professor in Oxford, a Jesuit companion, friend of mine, Philip Ender. I'm not sure if he is around because he is going to be here this year working in I have to be careful. He has a theory, very interesting one, that says we were meant to be connected at the beginning when the Society of Jesus was created. And now these new technologies are bringing back the possibility to go back to that connectivity, to that connection that was at the beginning of the first fathers when they start to think on the mission spread all around the world. So it's a very nice theory, the people in academia, they have this, I really like it. So I hope we can really go forward into that, not today, okay? But I just want to emphasize that in the last 40 years, the Society of Jesus has been following also this path that society in general is doing. We have been increasing our sense of corporate mission since GC 31, more or less. We have been increasing our sense of globality, global awareness. And I would say that the universality of our mission was an explosion that came in GC 35 that has been giving birth to many initiatives that are trying to drown into this stream of universalizing our mission and getting more and more structures that can help us to embody a universal mission. I'm going to talk about 6 real examples of the use of technology at the global scale of the Society of Jesus, okay? So these are 6 examples that I know because I'm linked to them. So this is why I'm speaking, I could be using other ones, okay? But the first one is GRS. I always ask, why Arupe didn't answer to the refugee problem in a regular way through the provinces? You know? And the answer for that, I guess, is that in his vision, Arupe understood that he was facing the first global issue that was not possible to solve only from the local perspective. So that's why he just invented and created from scratch the first global institution we have, that is the Jesuit Refugee Service. And today, this institution is already working in more than 60 countries, and a couple of days came the last report, serving more than 700,000 beneficiaries all around the world. So they are facing the problem that all transnational institutions are facing. And yesterday, Daní reminded us that Father Gilbert is worried about identity in an expanding world. Okay? So GRS was also worried about that because they were facing a problem of fragmentation. And I'm bringing this example here because they decide to strengthen identity and they decide to do it through information technologies also, together with other strategies. Okay? So first of all, they changed the website and they put a website that was a content management system that is fed by all the regions. So there is a unique website. You can see different views from the different regions, but it's actually the same website. They can put different campaigns, but it's the same website. Everybody has to feed information and need to go there to read and have an update of what is going on in GRS in this moment. So they generate a unique point where all the sources of data are passing through. This is an interesting strategy. The second is they put a Pedro Arupe system that is like a knowledge management program that unifies procedures. They have to pass through the system with all the projects. They have to do all the reports. They have to manage all the finances through obviously it's a private, it's not a website open to the public, but they have this system that is actually helping them to hold together the institution in a very interesting way as a solution to the crisis we saw. And they decided to work in the branding. They were really strong with the use of the logo and serious use of social networks and a clear, professionalized use of the mailing that probably all of you are receiving once in a while to be updated of what happened with GRS. I'm bringing this here because it's a very interesting effect of technologies. This is not just a solution for a crisis in identity. Of course, they have been working in participatory action and strategic plan. They have been doing a lot of meeting of homologous. They use Adobe Connect. They use Skype. I think I can say that GRS will be very different today without Skype. Okay? So I just want to bring your attention to one conclusion we can learn from that. Technology can help us to strengthen the identity of dispersed networks and institutions. Technology can help us to work in a sense of common mission and belonging. And technology is also opening channels to allow everybody to participate in this collective construction of knowledge. So one lesson we can learn from GRS in terms of the use of technology is that they are good on strengthening the corporate mission. Another lesson we can learn is from Frei Alegría. You know already this is one of the, I think, the most important and biggest, largest network of schools we have in the world. Movement for Integral Popular Education. They are in 20 countries. I'm working for Frei Alegría in Spain. So 20 countries, mainly in Latin America and Caribbean, but also in Chad, also in Spain, also in Italy. 1.5 million students. You have the figures there. It's an impressive network of education. We can talk about how they use technology. They have a whole program, P3, number 3, that is dedicated to educational technology. You can check the website mundoscolar.org They have a whole set of virtual tools to teach. Also, you can check how they use the new technologies to teach the staff and the teachers all around the network. You can check it aulavirtual.feriaalegria.org. Both are Moodle platforms that probably you know already, but I don't want to talk about this. I think the most important lesson for us today is that Feria Alegria it was founded in 1955, and in 1998 they started to work as a federation, as a real international federation. So GRS is not a network, it's a global institution. Feria Alegria is a network of national Feria Alegrias. And what is important is they find out 8 programs, 8 projects that could be benefit for a concerted action in the whole network. And not only they start working together in those 8 lines, but also they decentralize them. So each of these programs is led by a different person in a different country. Okay, and it's working pretty fine. And they are using a tool called Illuminate that helps to do a remote work group. It's very simple. It could be also Skype or email. The question is not technology. They are actually learning that technology can help us to globalize action lines that can profit from the common action and specialization. That's the second lesson we can learn. We can globalize action lines. The third lesson, I would say, let's use GC 35, the General Congregation 35, 2008. I was studying here, actually, in Boston College in that time. At the end of 2007, I received an email from the Secretary General of the Society of Jesuit that you don't receive an email from him every day. And I'm saying more or less, the Cetus Premier, the people who is organizing the congregation, they want to go digital, but we don't know how. So they have the vision. That's the point. This is a very nice first step for innovation. They have the vision and they ask for help. 15 days before the congregation started. Okay. So it was a gradual openness. Okay. So we started with a traditional press strategy till the new Father General was elected, and little by little we were moving into a new strategy of communication based on I don't know if you remember the microsite we developed in those days. It was a unique channel of information for everybody. 3 editions per day, we changed all the contents 3 times per day in 4 languages. Was very interesting. We kept the momentum after the election of Father General. We thought that nobody will care about after the election. And actually 5,000 people were visiting every day what's going on in Rome through the microsite of the congregation. And actually the answer was so huge that we need to open a new section called Echoes of the Congregation, because we started receiving a lot of emails and a lot of messages of people that was addressing the congregation as a whole. And we were so moved by the interaction that we opened that section, Echoes of the Congregation. I will tell you a secret. That microsite is still active in this address, so you can check it if you want while this talk is going on. Okay, this is the website. I suppose you remember was basically the strategy was to use all multimedia information to be sure that we transmit what was going on in Rome and help the people to connect, even in a prayerful way. We put videos and the prayers that the delegates were praying every day on the congregation. So many people were praying together with us at the very same time in very different places of the world. Pictures, video, it was a very hard work in a few period of time, but it was really worth it. Our objective was not the general media. Our objective was to keep together the family, the national family, to allow them to participate of the dynamics of the congregation. To one extent, of course, okay? That's a tricky distance. They asked us to open a window to the congregation. I hope we did. We established a link and we share the dynamics of the congregation. I will say we taste a little bit the union of souls, of hearts, through new technology also. And I want to take another second. You were the ones who pushed us to do that. It was not the boldness of the General Curia. It was really the congregation itself were asking for doing more in communication. Second, the curias and the media of the Jesuit world were asking for more information and more pictures, videos, data. And especially is interested in a world like today, it's impossible to isolate a congregation. So there were communication that was going on anyway. You want it or not. So there were other websites of the Jesuit world that had much more information than the official one. So at the end, what we did was to incorporate all these dynamics into an official place. Actually, we have to open a blog of the delegates because actually they weren't blogging anyway. So we can make it official somehow, and we can channel that information to the whole Society of Jesus. So the lessons that we can learn from this experience, some of them, is that in 2008, the Society of Jesus, especially the Ignatian family, was already used to the use of technology. And that was a challenge for the Jesuit 35 team. Our culture of technology, in a wide sense, was ready for something, and we have to jump in late, but we did it. Another interesting consequence was that one of the groups that used the most the website is amazing. They were the delegates themselves. So there was a demand of, I'm not sure if in English that translates, meta-narrative. That means in this type of events that everybody has a very particular experience, there is a need of something to grasp the wholeness of what you are living. There is a need of an official version that kind of tells you what is going on here, because I just have a small perspective of it. So that's very interesting how the delegates themselves were asking for a tool like this one. And also, very interesting consequence is today, every time we have a big event, there is a need for the community of interest who is interested in that. There is a need of a platform to dialogue so we can have a conversation to process and to appropriate what actually is going to affect you later on. So we started with a couple of Facebook groups. In that time, Facebook was not the hit that is today. But at the end of the congregation, we had already 13 Facebook groups on the General Congregation or the Jesuit world. Adolfo Nicolas had his fan page 3 days later after he was elected. So there were a lot of movement. There was a lot of movement around people trying to talk about the congregation. So we can establish a dialogue when the communication, technology, and the culture is enough. That's another lesson. The other one, 2011, Magis in Spain. You know, Magis is this program of pastoral with youth people that we organize, the Jesuits, every time that there is a World Youth Day. We organize a pastoral work 3 weeks before. So we worked for 3 days with 3,000 people from all around the world, and we ended up merging into the World Youth Day event. So last year was, actually it's going to be 1 year, it was in Madrid. So we saw the opportunity there. We saw the opportunity. It was again the same thing that the General Congregation, one unique event for the whole Society of Jesus that was framed in time and that was somehow interesting for communities abroad. And this time the opportunity was even bigger because it was targeted to really digital natives, totally different than DC35. And it was organized by Jesuits, young Jesuits, I will call it digital migrants. That was totally different from DC35. So the opportunity for doing something new, it was so huge that we started learning a very bold strategy of communications, trying to open the channels to try to communicate with that crowd of people that were coming to Spain 1.5 years before it started. We opened a call to all the international societies, bring us your people in communication. We will do an international work. And actually we did a team of 24 people from many places in the world. We worked in an incredible way to listen to the youth, and we established a unique channel of information through this website, again, multimedia, all type of contents, but especially focused on the youth on social media, on social networks. We target 3,000, we got 6,000 of the people, not only the ones who came, also the people interested in that. We were listening to what they say, and actually we were improving the strategy on the way. So we had to break a culture change in Spain with the organizers, the overall organizers of Magis. They didn't allow us, they didn't want us to put a wireless connection. For example, in the place where everybody was going to be gathering, we were pointing, we want to put a Wi-Fi in Loyola, we want to put a Wi-Fi in Madrid, and they say, what are you talking about? This is a pastoral experience. They are not going to bring gadgets. This is not going to help for the introspection. This is not going to help to interaction, to relationship. This is not going to help them to review their day. This is not going to help, period. They even sent a message, don't bring your gadgets. Imagine the young people. What happened? They brought all kind of gadgets. They brought all kind of gadgets. Everywhere they were using this. They are themselves. It's impossible to avoid this. That's what the point. So we put the wireless, of course. What we did was to strategize the use of that media into our pastoral objectives. So we asked them for tweeting in the morning a desire, for example. We asked them for choosing a video expressing what is Magis for you and send it to us in YouTube. We asked them for, imagine, to take a picture at the end of the day, a meaningful picture, and explain to the rest of the people why this is meaningful for you. Or in the night, tweet a Thanksgiving prayer. So actually we were doing the same things we do in a pastoral experience with youth, but through new technology. And it worked very well. In all the wireless areas, we always have this invitation to use in a pastoral way the technology. And they were using it. They were visiting the website of Magis, using the material from Magis, doing the catechesis, the prayers, and using it online. The results were amazing. I'm not going to stop by a lot here, but a lot of conclusions can be drawn from this. First of all, there is a new way of working internationally. We have never had something like that before. The Provincial of Spain say, this is a priority, and suddenly all the works understood that. So every time I asked for something, I had it. It was the first time in my life it happened. All the institutions opened the doors, and suddenly, even institutions abroad, the US conference sent people to work with us. The Jesuit Media Initiative in London sent people to work with us. They were not volunteers. They were people working for other institutions that came 15 days to work in our team. And we were so excited because we were working in I think Chris Lowney said something like that yesterday. We believed in what we did. We were contributing to the mission of the society beyond the mission of our own individual institutions. And you can really imagine the explosion of creativity and performance that we lived through. There is something there I just wanted to show you a little bit. Okay? Also, again, the same lesson from GC35. There is a need of a dialogue. Actually, 1 week, the 3,000 guys were spread around Spain, and the use of media, of social media, keeping the same line. So actually, for 1 week, Twitter and Facebook were the only places where you can keep a sense of wholeness of Magis, and they kept using it. And there is a new attitude of working. That means we need to learn from digital natives. How can we do our objectives in their way? Not other ways. So we can learn from natives. We can learn. And I will go very quick. I already talked about Kasungu. Jesuit Commons Higher Education in the margins. This is a collaborative program that is going on, offering the expertise of higher education of the Jesuit universities in the States and other countries. Helping GRS to develop in the frontiers of our mission to bring the education there, the higher education. Okay? There are 26 different corporations and universities already engaged, led by Regis and Gonzaga University. There are 3 pilot projects already going on, 2 in Africa and 1 in Syria. 400 students, 1 diploma in liberal studies, some service track learning courses without credits on counseling, health, I don't know more of them, but they are also English as a second language, this type of things. And this is actually working. You can check the website. There is a lot of information. For our purpose today, the lesson we can learn is technology can expand the scope of our mission. This is something I said already. We can tap into existing resources. We don't need to generate new institutions for doing this. And there is a sense of shared mission that go beyond the sectors, the apostolic sector. Because actually, GRS is working with universities, that means social sector and educational sector, together. Cross-sectoral approach is possible also thanks to technology. And the last lesson is the Global Ignatian Advocacy Networks. It's an initiative that started in 2008 where a group of institutions working in Ignatian advocacy gathered in Spain. And they, after GC35, following the same spirit, they decided that there were some lines of action that will be benefit if we, the Society of Jesus as a whole, make an option, a concerted global action in advocacy on that behalf. So they picked up like 10 issues that finally got narrowed down into 5. Migration, ecology, governance of natural and mineral resources, right to education, peace and human rights. And they made a network of institutions interested in working on that. And they named one leading institution, and also to merge this with our regular structure of governance, each of the networks is assigned to one conference of provinces, Latin America, Europe, South Asia, Latin America, and Africa. The conferences are the umbrella where these networks are being held, okay? You have the information of this project in nationaladvocacy.org. What I just want to call your attention is we can learn that we have possibilities to reach a concerted global action. Institutions from different levels of action, like universities, NGOs, social centers, are working together already in networks through technology. So we have these 6 examples. I want to call your attention. First of all, we have a global network, a global institution, a global network, 2 international events, and then 2, I don't know how to call this. They are not international events because they are meant to be sustainable. They are not institutions. They have no sense by themselves. This is the type of initiative we are talking about when we say a new way of working. These are initiatives that build on the strength of our networks, tapping in our institutions and our people. These are initiatives that channel a renewed sense of universal mission to what is already there. Okay? And maybe this is the way through to recover that apostolic boldness or that apostolic dynamism that we were talking about in many of the talks on this colloquium. So I just want to bring your attention here. There is something new in this way of working, and that's what we need to be focusing on. So we have 6 lessons. I'm not an educator from your sector, so maybe you can help me to answer if these lessons can be transferred to your educational sector. Okay? I will pass through very quick. Can we use the corporate mission work of technologies for the expertise or for the identity of Jesuit education? It's possible to globalize some action lines. If Vivian was right, we need to use the strength of our network. We need to use the strength for doing global education. I'm not going to stop in this, okay? The question of can we use concerted global action is actually what we are trying to answer. My point is, education is really a sector that can take advantage of these new technologies and use it for global networking in a way that we are just starting to understand. So it will be a pity if we stop here the reflection, because the difficulty of this is, when you are talking about examples, is how to take off from examples and how to do somehow a reflection. And I would like to offer you kind of a big picture approach, so can help you that you are leaders of institutions, not techie guys, to use technology in a strategic way. So this is the most bold approach that I have had to this topic, but I hope it's helpful for you. So the whole dynamic is how to move from tools, the operative area of the technology, to the culture change that is behind it. Okay, this is the challenge we have. This is the challenge. And if we talk in different levels, there is an internal dimension of the use of technology in our organizations. That is how they help us to organize ourselves. This is the easiest use of technology. Everybody understands that, you know. And this is the use we are usually having in our institution. To coordinate, to improve productivity, to have better results, okay? Sharing the calendars, have a file system, file server, remote collaboration tools, all these things are for coordination. But there is something more. We can go further in this dynamic and use technology for knowledge management. That means at the end is being possible of gathering the information, aggregate our information in our institution, and extract somehow conclusions of what is being done in our institutes? How can we learn? How can we restructure our data, our knowledge, and put it out again? So there is a kind of a cycle of feeding information and feedback that help institutions to learn. And in this way, we reach a moment in which all these technologies are helping us actually to have a sense that we are the owners of the mission. That the mission, the strategic decisions are being taken because of the information that came from the local places, and actually it helps to hold the institution together and to have a sense of globality. This is what GRS is doing, actually, that type of movement. There is another dimension of the use of technology. It is how I relate to the outside world. So let's say my clients, whatever will mean clients. If you are a teacher, the clients are the students. You are a director, the clients are the teachers. You are the secretary of the sector, the clients are the institutions, okay? So the first step is listening. Open your eyes, open your ears, put yourself in the digital world, listen what is going on, learn from what the people is saying, and also check what they are saying about you, managing online reputation, you say. We can go even further, establish a conversation, engage. Father Lombardi said yesterday, there is a huge change from listening to conversation. Learn, be open, accept insights from outside. And there is another step, and this is even longer, you will laugh about me, but it's co-creation. This is collective intelligence. We are not there. I'm sure in the future we will be talking about communal discernment here, because actually we are facing this time where we need to open a dialogue to discern the mission of our network. There is another level that is an external one. How do we network? How do we work together as network? And there is a first stage of use of technology that is just what we call a service provider type of network. It's the classic secretariat of the Curia. So I give service to the network. I empower the people who belong to my network. It's just an interchange of information, best practices, channeling the branding, etc. So very simple things, but it's the first stage of networking. But you can do better. You can go to a project-focused network that actually common action is getting there. And we can do even better, that is, go to collective action. That means act as a unique actor, the whole network together, reaching levels that were not there before for us, like Gian is doing, the Global Ignition Advocacy Network. So this is very important, this dynamic, for networks of support to networks of agency. This is something we need to be focusing in the future for sure. This is something that Chris Lumley called from transactional networking and interchange of information to transformational networking. When really everybody works for a mission that goes beyond the individual and the institution. We are in a different level of agency, reaching possibilities that were not there before, isolating. I call it symbiotic networking. That is, when I join the network because I'm interested in and I win from that, to synergic networking. That is, we all act together in a different way, reaching different levels. I'm not sure if you allow me to do this jump here, but yesterday when I was listening to Father Lombardi saying from a superficial communication to a sense of communion. This is what is in the background. If someone is watching to our network, they will say they are relating to each other like superficially. They are like kids using technology without knowledge. They are just being selfish. They are just working by themselves. They communicate only in a very superficial way. Our challenge is to move in this direction, towards a level of communion. I don't want to keep the conversation there because I will start falling very soon. But this is the best picture I can give you to bring back to your home so you can have a sense of how to use technology strategically. This is the horizon. This is the horizon of a mature institution in the use of technology. This is the field I'm using. This is technology for organizational development. That's the field of study that we are moving here. And I will say that here you can understand better all the dynamics I have been talking about. For example, GRS is moving there. Okay? So, GC35 was the first moment we really listened, or start listening and move into a conversation. Magis has been a step forward in that plan. Okay? Feia de Gay is moving from a service provider to a really project-focused network. Jesuit Higher Education at the margins is actually a project-focused network. And GIAN is an attempt of going into this amazing world of collective action. We are still trying, but we are moving. And if you see what is making us to move, it's an amazing collective mission, common mission, universal mission. That's what moves us to the right side of this chart. I think it's not by chance, but new technologies allow us to go to a mission that is every time more shared, more participatory, more of everybody, and this is something that is a strategic priority for the society after GT35. So we need to use that. The universal mission, that's where we are looking for. Every movement should be in that direction. We don't have more time. I would like to talk about the culture change. Let's say very quickly that we need Ignatian creativity, fruit of discernment within the framework of our mission. That's something that Father Gina is coming up all the time. Yesterday we talked about that also. Corporate leadership, we need leaders able of reframing the mission of our institution into a bigger picture approach. We need people experts on universal mission and knowing very well our apostolic work. People who is able of bringing us from networks of work to communities. This is something Father Rotor was writing about that a few months ago. And we need open organization. This is something very important. We need different types of organizations able of going beyond their own self-interest. If not, if we don't have this type of generosity, if we don't have this type of openness to innovation, we will not be able of getting this level of cultural change. Any incorporation of technology to our international network should be helping us in one of these three senses. Either a stringent sense of corporate mission, or giving us new challenges to engage to the mission, or widen the scope and raising the agency of our mission. Every technology we are going to include in our international network should help us in one of these three objectives. And the hardest part of this is how to start, how to keep going, because actually you have a lot of networks going on in your sector. So I would say, let's say, three small recommendations. A bigger one, that is, you can work as a sector in corporative mission. That's something you can do proactively. The rest of things need to be processual. Okay? So I would say, let's work in corporate mission and then open the channels to learn from the intelligence that you already have in the educational sector, because you have networks and expertise and experts in your schools that can be really important for the future of the sector. So three small recommendations, especially for the Secretary of Education. First of all, it's amazing the lack of information at global scale that you have. From someone who is coming from outside, it's a surprise that it's not as a systematization of the information as it could be. Okay, so my first suggestion to you is that to do a survey is very easy with technology today. It's not really expensive, and you will, after this colloquium, have a lot of fresh information. Don't let the momentum go away. So let's do a survey of the penetration of the technology in the schools, so you can have a sense of how can you proceed forward after this colloquium in terms of how can we connect, how can we have a dialogue or a conversation. A second recommendation is start a little bit to think in these terms of knowledge management. We need, this, maybe you have read the book, The Wisdom of the Crowds of James Surowiecki. He said that to really learn from the intelligence that is in one group, you need a group that needs to be diverse, needs to be decentralized and independent. And I think we fulfill more or less the three conditions. But he said we do also need a tool to aggregate the information. And that's the type of recommendation I'm suggesting to you. You need to pay attention to see how you gather information so we can extract some intelligence of that into future strategic decisions really based on hard data from the network. And the third recommendation is let's do a map of the network. There are people, experts in social analysis and analysis of networks that can help the educational sector to map how are you really currently working as a network. So you can identify where are the black holes of the network, where are the networks that are more amplifiers, where is the people who can be used as network weavers that really help things to move forward, and what type of experiences are replicable, etc. So there are people, experts on doing that type of mapping, and it could be a very good step to afterwards have a strategy more based on real information and expertise coming from your own network. I think that there is no more space in the screen, so I think I will finish here. Thank you very much. Here you have the web page, and if you want to read more about Jesuit networking, in this web page, this was a meeting we have here in April, and there are a lot of papers on this topic. And if you want to keep this conversation going on, of course, we can keep that also through email, but mainly I will use your secretary. I'm here just to help from the outside, and I hope that this has been somehow helpful for you. Thank you very much.